Hello everyone, it's MyJubJr, and it's been a long while since my last video talking about my favorite class loadouts I use in World War II, so I thought it now might be a good time to make another one. A ton of changes has happened over the course of the last 3 months, and that was the last time I actually made one of these. So just like the last video, I'll just be showcasing my top 3 classes. But this time around, I am probably gonna focus mostly on my specialist basic training setup, as it is a lot more intricate than the other 2 classes. But nevertheless, let's just move on to the actual video. Starting off with the specialist class, it is built with the task of earning V2 rockets in mind, and thus optimizes survivability over anything else. The class is based on the Expeditionary Division, as that ensures that you'll always have a constant supply of ammo and equipment, while also gaining the unique ability of marking opponents with equipment damage. For firepower, the primary weapon we'll take is the STG, as it's single-handedly the most versatile and consistent weapon in the game, with no real weaknesses to speak of. So despite any given situation that you'll run into, you can pretty much guarantee that you'll be able to stand a fighting chance with the STG. For attachments, the foregrip and quick draw is greatly beneficial, as you'll gain better close range capabilities while also improving the STG's already great accuracy. For the third attachment, we can choose either the rifle grenade, since it proves to be pretty handy when clearing out hotspots, objectives, and shields. Plus it also gains the ability of marking enemies on your minimap, which will then make it very easy for either you or your teammates to go and finish them off. Or you can choose to take high caliber, as long as you land one shot to the head at close range, you'll be able to down opponents in a swift 3 shots to kill. And for the secondary, since the Expeditionary Division has no counters against recon planes, the Panzerschreck will be essential and a great utility for knocking down those recon planes in order to stay hidden, or you can also use it to clear out buildings. And as a little added bonus, recon planes will also grant some additional score towards your specialist bonus without even having to engage the opposition. However, I must mention that if you're not already used to using any of the launchers, it can take some time to get adjusted to using the Panzer, but I can guarantee you that it will be a great investment in the long run. But now for the actual specialist basic training setup. Launched will be up first so that the Panzer can be resupplied and reliably used against infantry, since it will gain a boosted damage against them. But also keep in mind that launched will also allow the resupply of the rifle grenade, but although it comes without any additional boost in damage. Next, scoped is a very powerful choice, as it will help you with remaining agile with the STG, as where being able to strafe side to side in gunfights will prove to be very useful on your venture to get the V2. Lastly, instinct will further your survivability by alerting you to any opponents targeting you off screen, and therefore hopefully giving you enough time to get back to cover. This is also not to mention that instinct will also cover you against tacticals such as stun grenades, and will also highlight equipment on your HUD. But speaking of equipment, the class will also run S-mines just to help lock down the area to prevent any flanks on you. Plus it also synergizes very well with Expeditionary, as any surviving opponents will be marked on your minimap in real time. However, grenades is also a viable choice if you're proficient at keeping flankers at bay, as they can result in some free kills, and I would actually recommend using the sticky over the frag grenade, just cause they're more reliable since they don't roll around a lot. However, stun grenades are a key part of this build, as they pretty much behave as a scanner grenade, and it will be incredibly useful for venturing off into unsafe areas where enemies are likely to be present. But that's all for the build itself. However, if you're chasing V2s, the best game modes are ones with relatively fixed spawns such as Domination or somewhat Hardpoint. But regardless, for the first few V2s, you should try to take it slow and build up your confidence, as rushing will likely cause you to be killed. However, if you also want some other substitutes rather than the STG, I would recommend any gun with very consistent performance, as you really don't want to blame any factors such as recoil when you're only a few kills off of that V2 rocket. So with this in mind, I would suggest using SMGs such as the PPSH or the Sten, as they both have very low recoil and controllable recoil on top of that, so you'll be able to ensure that your shots land regardless of any real range except for the far ranges. With the biggest class tackled, the next two are far more straightforward, but still effective. Next up is a stealth build that relies on getting behind the front line to succeed. As you could guess, the Mountain Division is the perfect choice for a stealth class by keeping you hidden from recons and score streaks. For a primary weapon, the M38 suppressed with rapid fire and foregrip will allow you to remain concealed while maintaining great accuracy and time to kill. And this is all thanks to the M38's low recoil and decent fire rate. If you don't have the M38, the Type 100 is a possible substitute, as they're both very similar in stats. For a secondary, the P08 or 9mm SAP will perform well with the suppressor, and will be a great backup should you use it, since they both have a consistent fire rate and low recoil. Ordnance pairs well with this setup, as the flanking playstyle often results in several small streaks going, and Ordnance will ensure that those streaks don't go to waste. For equipment, you can pretty much use whatever you like, as there isn't that much focus on them with this build. However, I would really recommend also using the smoke grenade, just so that you can transition from area to area without being spotted. Moving on to the final setup, and you could probably see the trend of wanting to stay off the radar, and so far this one continues it. By being the most aggressive setup of the video, we'll start off the class with the Resistance Division, as this will render any enemy recon planes useless in the close range situations, thanks to the radar jamming perk. And all while this grants other useful perks like radar pings and minimap indicators that will definitely help you get a bearing on where the enemies are. For primary, we'll have the Sten SMG fit with the suppressors, since it has a great damage and range profile and can definitely afford the range reduction. The other attachments include rapid fire to boost the rate of fire to be on par with the PPSH, and an extended mag to increase the capacity up to 48 rounds to compensate for the rapid fire. With these attachments, the Sten becomes a very great competitor to the PPSH due to its low recoil and superior range, and it definitely becomes a great choice for an aggressive stealth build. And since we'll be in close range, any sidearm of your choice paired with a tactical knife will be very useful, as you'll often find yourself at melee distance. Using Hunker will tie the class together by reducing your explosive damage down to 80%, so that withstanding explosives in the heat of battle is definitely possible. For equipment, a sticky grenade will be a helpful utility, but a smoke grenade is beneficial as it pairs well with the minimap indicator and can even get you out of sticky situations if you find yourself surrounded. But that's all for my top 3 setups. And these loadouts are definitely more optimized for objective game modes, especially like Domination, since it's my most played game type. However, they still perform well in TDM or Kill Confirmed. And also, just like last time, these classes are basically what suits me best. And so, with that being said, feel free to experiment with what works for you and your playstyle. But as always, thanks for stopping by, and until the next video.